I received a furious complaint about my terrible parking, even though my car was well within the lines. The next day, the complainer deliberately parked so close to me that I couldn't open my door. So I waited until they left and parked an inch away from their driver's side. When they returned, they screamed, "How am I supposed to get in?" I smiled. "Guess you'll have to work on your parking." I'm living in a mid-sized apartment complex just outside Chicago. Nothing fancy. Just a basic 2-bedroom I rent while I work as a project manager for a construction firm. I usually leave for work early and get back around 6 in the evening. Pretty normal stuff. No drama. I keep to myself and don't bother anyone. The parking lot at this complex, though? A nightmare. It's tight. I mean really tight. Whoever designed it must have never driven an actual car before. The lines are there, but barely wide enough for a sedan, let alone anything bigger. Still, we all manage. Everyone knows it's a squeeze, so most people park carefully. You just take your time and try not to be a jerk. I always make sure to park neatly between the lines. Like, double check before locking my door level careful. Because if you don't, there's a good chance someone's gonna ding your car or leave a nasty note. It's happened before. Anyway, this all started on a regular Tuesday morning. I come out of my apartment around 7:30 a.m., coffee in hand, heading to work. I notice a piece of paper flapping under my windshield wiper. Not the usual coupon or pizza flyer. This one was bright red and handwritten in big, angry letters. It said something like, "You need to learn how to park. You're way too close to the line and making it impossible for others. Selfish people like you shouldn't even have a license. Do this again and I'll have you towed." I stood there for a second just staring at it. My car, a perfectly average Toyota Camry, was dead center between the lines. I even walked around it, double-checked. No part of my car was even touching either line. I had at least a foot on both sides. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe someone else parked badly, or maybe they confused my car with another one. But then I look over, and I see a silver Chevy Malibu parked in the space next to mine. Not crooked, not over the line, but close. Close enough that maybe they thought I was the one who parked bad. I let it go, threw the note in the back seat, and went to work. Figured it was a misunderstanding. But then the next day, I come out again, same time, same routine. Except now the silver Chevy is parked way closer to my car. Like I couldn't even open my driver's side door. I mean, we're talking 2 inches of space max. I try to squeeze in and nope, impossible. This wasn't a mistake. This was on purpose. I stand there, holding my coffee, just staring at it. My door literally couldn't open more than a crack. I had to climb in from the passenger side, like some high schooler sneaking into a car. Now I'm pissed. But still, I don't say anything. I don't want to start a fight or cause drama. So I decide I'm going to keep an eye out. I want to know who this person is. That evening, I come home and park normally. Then I sit in my car for a bit, pretending to be on my phone, waiting to see who drives the silver Chevy. Sure enough, about 20 minutes later, a guy in his late 40s shows up, balding, wearing jeans and a faded Cubs hoodie. He walks up to the Chevy and notices me sitting in my car, smirks. Then he says, loud enough for me to hear, "Maybe now you'll learn how to park, pal." I'm stunned, just frozen. Like what the hell? This dude really thinks I'm the problem? I don't even respond. I just stare at him as he drives off. But inside, I'm fuming. Now I know it's on purpose. He thinks he can bully me into parking differently, even though I'm following the rules. I've lived here for 3 years and never once gotten a complaint. My neighbors all know me. I don't cause problems. I don't make noise. I keep to myself. But this guy? This guy wants a war. So I decide I'm going to give him one. The next morning, I get up early. Earlier than usual. I see that he's already gone, must have left for work. His spot is empty. So I wait. Around 9 a.m., he pulls back into the lot. Weekend shift maybe? He parks in his usual spot, locks his car, and heads inside. I wait a bit. Make sure he's really gone. Then I grab my keys and go outside. Now remember, the lines in this lot are super tight. But I have a steady hand, and I park my Camry perfectly, just an inch away from his driver's side door. Not over the line. Not illegal. Just very close. So close that unless he's built like a stick figure, there's no way he's getting in from that side. Then I go back inside, make myself a sandwich, and wait. It's Saturday, so I've got time. About an hour later, I hear yelling from the parking lot. I peek through my blinds and sure enough, it's him. Red in the face. Staring at our 2 cars. He storms around to the passenger side, checks the space, then storms back to my side. Then, loud as hell, how am I supposed to get in? I walk out onto the balcony, take a sip of my iced tea, and say as calmly as I can, "Guess you'll have to work on your parking." He looks like he's going to explode. And this is where things start to really spiral. So yeah, he looked like he was about to have a full-blown meltdown right there in the parking lot. I didn't say another word. Just took one more sip of my tea, gave him the calmest look I could manage, and walked back inside. He ended up climbing through his passenger side, which, I gotta admit, was satisfying as hell to watch. For a day or two, things were quiet. He parked normal, I parked normal. I started thinking maybe that little stunt of mine had done the job. Maybe he realized I wasn't the kind of guy he could push around. But I should have known better. By Wednesday, he snapped back to full petty mode. This time, when I came outside to leave for work, my car was covered in sticky notes. Dozens of them. Bright neon colors. All over the windshield, the windows, the hood. They were all saying stuff like, "Learn to park, stop being selfish, not your personal garage." I just stood there staring at them, jaw clenched. People were walking by, giving me side eyes. A couple of teenagers from the building even started laughing. One guy actually stopped and said, "Damn, man, what did you do?" I peeled off the notes one by one, heart pounding in my chest. I didn't want to lose it in front of everyone, but I was boiling inside. I drove to work that day gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands were red when I got there. That night, I made a plan. I started documenting everything. Photos of my car between the lines. Dates and times. Pictures of his car parked too close. And of course, I took a video of the sticky note mess. I even caught a bit of it on the apartment security camera. I knew the building manager and asked nicely. Now, I wasn't just angry, I was building a case. But here's where it gets weird. 2 days later, a neighbor, Maria, sweet older lady, lives 2 doors down, stopped me in the hallway. She goes, "Hey, just so you know, that guy in the Chevy? He was asking about you. Said you were making trouble." I blink. "What kind of trouble?" She shrugs. Didn't say much. Just said to be careful. Said you've got a temper. Now I know this guy is trying to turn people against me. He doesn't want to just mess with my car anymore. He wants to make me look like the crazy one. So what do? I play the long game. I start being extra nice to everyone in the building. Holding doors open. Helping with groceries. Small talk in the elevator. All while keeping my camera rolling and collecting more proof. And then the next big twist hits. One night around 10 p.m., I hear this huge crash outside. Like metal on metal. I run to the window and see that the Chevy guy, let's just call him Chet, has backed into a parked car. Not mine. Someone else's. A red Honda that belongs to a nurse named Tanya who works nights. Chet gets out, looks around, and drives off. Doesn't leave a note. Doesn't check for damage. Just takes off like nothing happened. I couldn't believe what I saw. So I checked the security camera angle again, and, yup, got him. Right there. License plate, and everything. The next morning, I see Tanya and tell her what happened. Show her the video. She's shocked. Thanks me 100 times. Says she's reporting it to the police and her insurance. By the weekend, Chet gets a visit from the cops. And suddenly, he's not so smug anymore. But here's where it gets really messy. The moment the cops showed up at Chet's door, everything changed. I was walking back from the mailboxes when I saw them. 2 officers standing at his unit, talking to him while he tried to look confused and innocent. Tanya was there too, arms crossed, holding her phone with the video I gave her. I didn't stop, just walked past casually, pretending I didn't notice anything. But I knew. That video of him hitting her car and driving off. That was enough to file a hit-and-run report. The officers didn't arrest him on the spot, but they handed him some paperwork, and Tanya told me later they were investigating for property damage and negligence. Chet started avoiding me after that. No more glares. No more notes. No more stupid comments. But I wasn't stupid. I knew he was stewing. And sure enough, a few days later, I find a deep scratch down the passenger side of my Camry. Like, not just a little key swipe. This thing was a foot-long, deep groove, right through the paint. It hadn't been there the night before. I took photos. Checked the camera. Of course, he picked the one spot that didn't have direct security cam coverage. Smart enough to know where to avoid being seen. But dumb enough to leave muddy footprints right next to my car. And then, something else. I got home from work and found a letter taped to my door. Not a note. A typed-out, signed letter from our building manager. We've received complaints about you harassing other tenants. Please be advised that continued reports may lead to action, including lease review. I stared at it for a long time. I hadn't harassed anyone, unless you count existing and parking legally. Now I was mad in a different way, not just at Chet, but at how easy it was for him to start turning this around on me. That's when I made a decision. I took everything I had, photos, videos, timestamps, even a copy of the fake complaint letter, and I put it all in a folder. I scheduled a meeting with the property manager the next morning. I walked in calm and professional, showed her everything, step by step, the sticky notes, the door blocking, the neighbor witness, the hit-and-run video, the scratched car, the fake complaint. She didn't say much, but I could tell her mood changed halfway through. Her polite tone dropped, and she started looking at the documents like they were landmines. By the time I was done, she just nodded and said, "Thank you for bringing this in. We'll be addressing it immediately." I walked out of that office feeling like I'd finally made a dent. But I wasn't done. Because that night, my power went out. Not the whole building, just my unit. I call maintenance. They come by the next day and check the breakers. Then the guy looks at me and says, "You know someone unplugged your meter outside, right?" Now I'm in shock. Unplug my meter? What kind of psycho does that? I asked the maintenance guy to show me. He leads me around the back of the building, and sure enough, my unit's power meter has been tampered with. He plugs it back in, flips the breaker, and the lights come back on. I ask, "Can we lock it? Or put a box around it?" He shrugs. "Not really allowed to modify these. We can report it though." So we do. And I file another report with management and the police. But now I know, I'm not just dealing with a petty jerk anymore. Chet is crossing lines. Actual crime level lines. But you know what? I had a plan. So after the power meter stunt, I stopped holding back. I wasn't going to play nice anymore. I wasn't going to wait around for Chet to key my car again or mess with my stuff. I was done being quiet. I called a lawyer. Not because I wanted to sue him, yet, but because I wanted to know what my options were. I explained everything, every incident, every note, every piece of video proof. The scratched car, the hit and run, the tampered meter. He looked at me and said, "You've got more than enough for a harassment case and possibly criminal mischief." Now I wasn't just angry, I had leverage. But I also realized something else during that call. I had made a mistake too. I thought that parking stunt would end it. That getting back at him would make him back down. But all it did was throw gas on a fire. I gave him a reason to escalate. I got revenge, but it didn't stop him, it pushed him. And I wasn't proud of that. I could have just gone to management from the start. I could have filed a report after the first note. But I didn't. I wanted to be clever. I wanted to win. And now it had turned into a full-on war. But fine. If it was a war he wanted, I was going to finish it, with facts. Here's what I did. 1. Filed a formal complaint with the police, attaching every incident, every picture, every witness statement, thanks to Maria and Tanya. 2. Reported him to the DMV and included the video of his hit and run. 3. Gave the building manager an ultimatum. Deal with this or I go to local news and expose how tenants are harassed with no help from property staff. 2 weeks later, the fallout started. Chet got a notice to vacate. Turns out, his lease was on thin ice already. Complaints from other neighbors, noise issues, unpaid fees. My file? That was just the final nail. He flipped out, screamed in the hallway, pounded on my door. I didn't answer. I had the cops on speed dial, and they were already circling the lot. A few days later, he was gone. But it didn't end with just a move out. He got charged for the hit and run. Tanya's insurance pressed it. The police had my video and timestamps. He ended up with a suspended license and a fine. Might have even done community service. I didn't care enough to follow every detail after that. And me? Well, I learned something too. I was right to stand up for myself. But I was wrong to fight fire with fire. I won. But I lost sleep, peace of mind, time, and part of myself. The last few weeks before he moved out were tense. I kept looking over my shoulder. Every noise made me jump. It wasn't fun. It wasn't clever. It was war. Now, the lot is quiet. People park like normal human beings. No more notes. No more scratch paint. No more fake smiles. But I still walk out every morning and check my car. Just in case.